Hello, it's me, Miss Reed. Today we're learning about word problems to do with subtraction. Last week we did some on addition, which you all have become familiar with. We're going to be using the same method to do these ones, but they will be about taking away instead of adding. But of course, there will be a mix of things in there. Usually when we're doing about word problems, they're multiple parts. So there's lots of different bits, and they ask you to do lots of different types of equations. So it won't just be subtraction, there will be some addition, and there will be some probably times tables, maybe a little bit of division. We'll see. Let's have a go. So here we've got a lovely list of words. These words are all about the words used in word problems. We call these sort of action words or keywords to do with maths. So we did about addition last week, add, sum, total, together, plus, in, all, and we had some bonus ones. Today we are doing about subtraction. Now there's lots of different words for subtraction, as you can see, and I've got some lovely bonus ones up here that I think they missed. We have got minus in there already, so we don't need an extra one of those. But you can see subtract, remain, difference. So remain is about how many are left, so how many are left is a really important one too. Difference is the gap in between two different numbers, and to do that we need to do taking away. So I'm just going to give you an example of that here. So imagine I got given the number 50 and I got given the number 20, and someone says, what's the difference between these two numbers? Now they don't mean one of them's got a 2 in and one of them's got a 5 in. They want you to work out what the gap between 20 and 50 is. So what you would need to do to find out the difference is take away the 20 from the 50. So I know that 50 take away 20 equals 30. So the difference between 20 and 50 is 30, because that's how many I'd have to go up or go down to get from one number to the other. So that's the difference, but it's to do with subtraction. So that one might come up, so just be aware of that. Less than and fewer and how many more. How many more is one that sort of sounds a bit like it's trying to trick you out. It's not. It just means that sometimes it's easier to take away to see how many more are going to be left. So if someone says, oh, I've got 60 of these things, I've taken away this one, how many more do I need to get to this number? Then you're going to have to take them all away from the big main number to work out how many more they need. Okay, so that's why they say it in that context. They're not asking for you to keep adding up because it will take longer. You can just take away, it's quicker. Okay, so there's quite a few in there that you might be able to use. Decrease is just another fancy word for make smaller. So I'm sure we'll be able to find some really interesting ways to use these words, and we can spot them in these word questions we're about to look at. Let's try the first one. Okay, before that, of course, the 4 steps to answer a word problem. Big reminder, I'm going to speed through it because we did it last week. Underline the important bits. We did that in a beautiful blue last time. Underline, separate out the numbers. So that means picking which bit you're going to do first, which bit you're going to do second. That's all about organisation. We numbered those last time. It's really important to make sure you're laying things out nicely, otherwise you can get the answer wrong or miss key steps to get to the final answer. Number 3, working out. We did that in red last time. Our working out, of course, is working out which equation we need to use for each step of the problem to answer it correctly. So you need to be able to do that quickly and carefully by separating out the numbers, which we do in the earlier step. And last but not least, you need to check your answers. We use purple pen in school, so I use purple for this. Check your answers in 3 ways. So usually what you want to check for is to make sure you haven't made any mistakes copying out the equation in the numbers. Then you can check it to make sure that you haven't made mistakes doing your working out. And then you can check again, maybe doing an inverse operation or using a different way of working out the question, a different method, to see that you've got it correct, basically. So those are 3 ways you can check. You don't always have to do all of them if you're pretty certain of your first one, but it's a really good idea to check at least in one different way as you go. All right, first question now, we can do this. Mira, oh, first we've got to underline. Get my underline pen. Mira collected 49 apples. She collected them, so I'm assuming she's got them. Josh took, that means taken away, 21 to make apple juice. Nice. Asir was given, so he's also taken them away from Mira, 12 for an apple pie. Oh, nice. And Sarah wanted 4 for a snack. Sarah's hungry. I know it says wanted here, but I'm guessing that she's taken them and eaten them. She seems a bit cheeky. How many apples were left for Mira? So we know that's part 1. Step number 1 is that Mira has 49 apples. So we know that's going to be the first part of our working out there. So she has 49 apples. I like to start at the top because I know I'll have lots of space then. Josh took 21 away. That's part number 2. He's taken 21 away. I'm going to pop it in next. Asir was given 12 for an apple pie. That's part number 3. He's taken away another 12. So I need to make sure I've written down that all of these are being taken away. We're not changing the equation yet. It's all taking away. And Sarah took 4 for a snack. Cheeky, cheeky Sarah. She taken 4 away for a snack. And that means that we need to work out how many are left for Sarah. It's pretty easy because it's just going to be the answer of 49, which is our original number, take away all of those other numbers, and that will give us lovely number 5 here will be the answer. Okay, so there's not really many steps to this one because you're doing the same thing throughout. So it's not trying to trick you, you're just doing taking away for all of them. It's just lots of steps. So 49, take away 21, take away 12, take away 4. We're going to start obviously from right to left. So 9 is what we started with. I'm going to do it on my fingers because it makes it easier for me. 9 is what we started with. First I'm going to take away 1. Then I'm going to take away 2. And then I need to take away 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that has left me with 2 left there. So I've done that on my fingers. You can do that in your head if you are quicker than me. Then we've got 4, and we're taking away 2. And we're taking away 1, which has left us with 1, which means that the answer should be 12. Okay, so 49, take away 21, take away 12, take away 4 is going to be 12. Alright, so that one was quite a straightforward one. It's just making sure you do each step at a time. If you'd rather do 49 take away 21, get the answer and then do that answer, take away the 12, and then get the answer and then do that bit, take away the 4, and then get the answer. That'll get you to 12 as well. It's just about however you think is quicker, more logical, and helps you work it out. Alright, so in terms of checking my answer, I'm going to go through and make sure I've got all my numbers right. Up here I've got 49. Up here I've got 21. Up here I've got 12. I've got 12, yep. I'm not repeating anything or muddling anything up. Next is 4 years. And then I've worked out what was left. So just going to do, you can do the other checks in your head. You might want to check on your fingers if you didn't use your fingers for the first time. Well done. Let's try the next one. Mum took me to the shop. Whilst there, we bought a magazine. Oh, got to underline. It's reminding me over here. Look, underline. Whilst there, we bought a magazine for £2. They bought it, so they're going to pay for it. A bag of sweets for £1.60, and 2 loaves of bread. Oh, so the bread didn't cost £2. It's 2 loaves of bread, and they were 95p each. How much change would we get from a £10 note? So there's a few steps in this one. How much change would we get from a £10 note? And really importantly, it's these 2 loaves of bread, which were 95p each. Now, whilst I'm thinking about this, it's fine to reorder the way you do things in order. So I'm first going to work out how much the 2 loaves of bread cost, because otherwise, when I'm going to do that in the middle of doing all the other addition, I don't want to get confused, I don't want to get muddled up, and it's going to take me a little bit longer. So the first thing I'm going to do is work out how much the 2 loaves of bread cost. After that, what I'm going to do is add together the other amounts. So the other things that we're spending. Because at the end, it asks how much change we're getting from the £10 note, so we're paying them £10. But we need to know how much we're spending altogether first to be able to work out the difference, to be able to work out what change we've got. So the word change, of course, is just what's left. So you need to make sure you remember the language like that when we're talking about money. When they say how much change, they mean how much will be left from that £10 note. That's how we know it's taken away at the end. So number 2 is going to be adding all those bits together. And then number 3 is going to be that last important part of the question, which is working out the change. That's the taken away part. So that'll be right at the end over here. Okay, so let's do it a step at a time. You can have a go now if you want to pause it. I'm going to have a go now, and then you can see my answer at the end. See you in a second. Okay, so coming back to you now then. I've done the first bits of my working out. We've done 95p add 95p for number 1, which is our loaf of bread. I'm going to tick them off as I go to make sure I've done them. So that's the 2 loaf of bread, and then I've carried that over to my number 2 step so that I make sure I added it in. My number 2 step is £2, done. Add £1.60, done. Add the £1.90 from the loaf of bread, done. And then it's asking me how much change will we get from a £10 note. Now you might see as I've gone through, I haven't put on the pound sign until the very end. Over here I put p because I had it as 190p, and then I converted it into pounds, so then I put the pound sign in. I've made sure I've kept my dot in the middle throughout so that I don't get confused about the sort of units I'm working with. I didn't want to put the pound sign on at the beginning just because I didn't want to accidentally think it was maybe a 2 or a 5 that I'd written wrong and add it in by mistake. You might go, Miss Reed, I'm better at writing things out neatly than you are. That's fair enough. And you've worked it all out perfectly cleanly, and you've got to that answer as well. The reason I've left this bit to the end is because I wanted to check that you're all doing it correctly with me and to see how you're doing your units as well. So I know that this top one is going to be my £10 note. And I know some of you have really struggled doing taking away from zeros. It's a tricky one. Subtraction with zeros is hard, and it's about carrying over the numbers. So I've done a little video for it separately if you wanted to watch that. But if you watch this here, you'll see how I'm carrying the number across, just like we do our addition and with other sums as well. And you can see I'm going to take, this is going to be the bit that's going to be taken away, the answer to this bit in this question. Yep, so that's how we're going to work out how much change we've got. So again, I'm not going to write my pound note in there because I don't want to confuse it. But this is going to be £10 take away £5.50, and then at the end it will give us our change, which is what we're looking for our answer. Ooh, I made a mistake there. That should be a £5.50, not £5.55. So hopefully you've again written this far more neatly than I have. It's a problem with talking and writing. Got to concentrate. So, starting with 0 take away 0, we've got 0 here. Nothing to take away, so nothing changes. But we can't do 0 take away a 5. When we're doing subtraction, we always have to start with the biggest number on top to take it away. We can't go into negatives. So what we're going to do is some carrying over. I'm going to use my purple for this so you can see it. So, we can change this into a 0, this is now nothing, and make this into a 10. That's wonderful. I can do my 10 take away 5, but this poor 5 over here, he's got nothing to do. He still needs to have something for him to be taken away from. So I'm going to get rid of this 10 and make it into a 9. Alright? And then I'm going to carry this across and make this into a 10. Okay? So now I've got 10 take away 5. So we know that 10 take away 5 is going to be 5. And I can put my dot in here so I don't forget. And now we've got, instead of nothing take away 5, or instead of 10 take away 5, we've got 9 take away 5 because we carried that 1 over all the way along. So it's 9 take away 5. I'm getting it on my fingers. 9 take away 5 leaves us with 4. Okay. Some of you are going, Miss Reed, you could have done that in your head. Yeah, I could have. I thought I'd show you. And over at this end, this very first one, I'm going back into purple, we've got a 0 here now, so we don't need to put anything there, except from our pound sign, which will give us our answer. So £10 take away £5.50 is going to leave us with our £4.50 there, which is going to be our answer. So how much change would we get from a £10 note? If we were spending £5.50, we would have £4.50 change. So I really need to make sure I put that pound sign in there. I've ticked this all off as I've gone along and done my checks as I've gone along, which means I'm pretty content that I've got my answer correct. If you're worried, go back through and check in those 3 different ways. Well done, great job. Next question. On this one again, I'm going to do the first step and then I'm going to leave you to do the rest, and then you can just see my answers at the end. I'll just help you underline and separate out the bits that you need to work out before you have a go, which is what you should do with all of these questions. In class, there are 28 children. 6 children walk to school, 3 cycle in, 8 come by bus, and the rest come by car. How many children take the car to school? Right, so that's what we're trying to work out, is how many take the car to school. We know that the first thing we're going to do is start with our 28 children. And then, just like in the first question we did, we need to take away each of these little bits to come to the answer. So we take away the 6, we take away the 3, we take away the 8, and then we will work out the rest by getting that answer. Let's have a try. I'm going to let you do it yourselves and I'll show you my answer if you pause it now. Okay, so you can see my working out here, and I'm just going to show you how I got to my answer and check my answer with you. So I've got here 28 is my first number. It's changed a little bit and I'm going to show you how in a second. 6 is my second number. Yeah, not made a mistake there. 3 is my third number. 3 is definitely there. 8 is my fourth number. Yes. And then I need to work out the rest. So that's going to be this bit here. So how I've done it, I've left myself a little mark over here as a little reminder that I am doing takeaway for all of these. I shouldn't be doing anything else. 28 is the number that I'm taking everything else away from. I need to remember that. What's really hard is I had the number 8 up here as the number I was taking away 6, 3 and 8 from, and that wasn't big enough to take away 8 and 6 and 3 added together. So what I did is I crossed out my 2 and I made it into a 1, and I carried that 1 over, so we have made that number into 18. Now 18 take away 6 leaves us with 6, and then 6 take away 3 gives us 3. Have I made a mistake here? I think I've made a mistake here. Let's check it. Let's check it together. I'm going to do it each in a little step by step, and that way you'll be able to see where I've gone wrong or if we've done it right. So we've got our 28, and we've taken away our 6 first. So 28 take away 6 is going to leave us with 22, because 6, 7, 8 leaves 2. Yep. And then we're going to do our 22 take away 3, and that's where it gets tricky, so we're going to carry over there and make that into a 12, make that into a 1, and then we've got 12 take away 3, so that's 12, 11, 10, 9. So that's going to be 9, and there's still a 1 here to carry over. And then, last but not least, we've got our 19, which is our answer. Take away our 8 from over here. So 9 take away 8 is 1, and then we've got the 1 carried over, so we've ended up with 11. Oh, but yes, doing that out loud, of course, was much harder than when I did it in my head over there, where it was much clearer. So it's a really good chance there for me to check my answer and show you what I mean by breaking down those steps one at a time. So of course this is number 2 here. This is number 3 that we've done, but we've just broken it down smaller so it's easier to do. And here is number 4, the final step before we end up with our answer. Okay, so that's just how you break it down. It's a really quick way to check, so it doesn't hurt your head when you're trying to do it in a big long column, or if you haven't had time to add together all those answers and then take them away from a bigger number. It's whichever way you'd prefer to do it, whatever way makes it easy for you to work out, please use. But yeah, good opportunity to check. Let's see the next one. Lana had 16 stickers. Again, after I've done this one, you're going to have a go yourself. Her mum gave her 24 more. Remember that word more, that means adding together. She gave half, there's lots to do here, of her stickers to Mia, 1 to her pet dog, and left for on the fridge. She then gave 7 to her brother over the week for being so nice. That's sweet. How many stickers does Lana have left? Okay, so we need to work out how many she's got left. So we need to work out first how many she's used and how many she starts with. So there's lots of different steps here that I'm going to highlight for you first. So she has 16 stickers and her mum gave her 24 more. That's going to give us the full amount of stickers. So that is the first thing we need to do. More tells me that it is an addition I need to do there. So that's going to be 16 add 24 for the first section. Okay, so I'm going to put a little add there so you remember. Next, she gave half of her stickers to Mia. So we need to work out what half of 16 add 24 is. So 2 is to work out that half. That's really important. After that, it's just taking away. So 3 is going to be taking away. That's going to be subtraction. And 4 over here is about taking away this 4 because she's left those 4 on the fridge. So they're gone. They're not hers. And then 5 is going to be the 7 that go to her brother. Although it's very nice of her to say that it was for him being so nice, we don't need to know that fact. So we just need to remember that for 5 we are taking away that 7. That is a takeaway symbol, sorry. And then how many stickers does Lana have left should be the answer to number 2, take away all those other ones. Yeah, after you've worked out the 5 there. All right. So I'm going to leave that to you to do in your own way. You can plan it out and use the space very carefully to make sure you can lay it out nicely and clearly. Good luck. Have a go. Okay, so you might have been trying to use the same method that I was trying to use at this step here. And what I've come to is a bit of a stumbling point. And that is because I end up doing 20 take away all these numbers, even if I carry over those little bits at a time. So we could do what we did in the last question and use our purple pen to split it into each of those little groups to make sure we've taken away each bit separately. Or we can do this in our heads or on our fingers to make sure we've taken away. So I can do 20 take away 1, 20, 19, and then take away 4. 18, 17, 16, 15, and then take away 7, 15, so 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So I should be left with 8. Now earlier, what I said is one of the good ways of checking is using your inverse operations. And by that, I mean I can work out how much all of these added together are. Then I can work out if 20 take away 8 equals that answer. So this is a really good way of checking. So let's do that. So that's going to be, these two together are going to be 5. I know 1 add 4 is 5. And then I need to do 7 add 5, and 7 add 5 is 12. So that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So if I've got 20 take away 12, am I going to be left with 8? Yes, because that's the way I've just worked it out. If I do 20 take away 8, I should be left with 12. Let's try it. So 20 take away 8. I've got my 8 on my fingers. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. So I do end up with 12, which means my answer is correct. All right, so I can go through and check all these different steps, but I have had a check as I've gone to make sure I've got that one correct. All right, so this is whatever way you find easiest. If you're thinking, Miss Reed, column addition doesn't make sense to do here because I could have done that in my head or on my fingers more quickly, that is fine, as long as you've written down your answer clearly and you've shown you're working, so the divided by 2 and all those other bits, that's perfectly fine. All right. Speaking of the divided by 2, I know that half of 4 is 2, so I knew that half of 40 is 20. Okay. Next up then. Joe's dad says he can have 30 people at his party. Okay, underlining pen. 30 people at his party. Joe has invited 6 old friends and 12 new friends. His mum invited 8 relatives. how many more people can he invite? So we need to do 30, take away all of those to see how many people is left for him to invite. As we saw in the last question, it's probably easier for you to add up all of these parts as the first step. So 6, add 8, add 12, and that will tell you how many people have been invited already. And then step number 2 is taking away that number from 30 to see how many more people he can invite. Okay, so have a try at that and I'll see you on the other side. Hello, okay, I'm going to check this with you one more time then. So I've carried my 26, which is my answer to part number 1, over to 30, take away 26. And as you can see, I'm going to have to take away from a 0 again. So I was just going to do this bit with you in case you were worried about it. This bit I'm going to change into a 2 because I'm going to carry a 1 over to here and that's going to make that into a 10. 10 take away 6 equals 4. And then you can do 2 take away 2, which equals 0. So we don't need anything in that box, which means what we have left over is 4. So how many more people can he invite? There should be 4 people for him to invite left. Okay, so not too many friends left to invite actually. He's pretty tight on his party there. But I'm just going to go through in purple pen to check that I've written all the numbers correctly. Have I added a 6? Yes. Have I added an 8? Yes. Have I added a 12? Yes, I have. And then in the second part, I've carried over my 26, so I know that that's there. And I've used my 30 from up here. Yes, I have. And I've had to do some carrying, but that's okay. There's another way to check this. If you wanted to be really quick, again, doing your inverse operation is the fastest way. If I was trying to do, instead of 30 take away 26, I could do 26 to get to 30. So I go 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So I can see that that's 4 just by checking out loud. Okay, awesome. Final question. I think we've got one more left to do. Yes. So Lewis and Sam growing sunflowers. Lewis's was 10 centimeters tall, then grew 5 centimeters more. So when you're adding there, Sam's was twice as big as Lewis's. Okay, there's a couple of steps here. What was the height difference between the 2 sunflowers? Now I'm not going to underline that 2 because I know that it's Lewis's sunflower and Sam's sunflower. I'm not doing anything with that 2, but I need to work out the difference at the end there. So this is 3 very different steps for you to do. So the first thing to do is see how tall Lewis's sunflower is by adding that 10 and that 5. And then we need to work out how big Sam's sunflower is by using the answer to number 1 and then timesing it by 2 because it's twice as big. That means 2 times as big. And then we need to work out the height difference. So remember, like we talked about difference at the beginning, it's those 2 numbers and you're taking the smaller number away from the bigger number to work out what the gap in between the 2 numbers is. So that is your step 3 there. There's 3 very clear steps to do there. You've got adding, timesing, and then you've got subtraction at the end there. Have a go. I'll see you on the other side. Alright, so you should have sort of finished this one off. This one I've done a bit more quickly than I usually would, just to show you how I've done it in my head, basically. So for number 1, I've done my addition. I did my 10, add my 5, that makes 15. I've made sure I put my centimetres here so I know how much. And I also put L, so I know that it's Lewis's flower there. For number 2, which was about working out the height of Sam's sunflower, it was 15 times 2. Now I know that 5 times 2 is 10, 10 times 2 is 20, so I added those together in my head and I've got my 30 centimetres there. And I put an S again for Sam's sunflower, so his is 30 centimetres. So what I did is I worked out at the end that 30 take away 15 is going to equal 15, because I know that 15 times 2 is 30. And since Lewis's was half the size of Sam's, we knew that the difference between them was going to be half the amount, because his was twice as big. So the answer was 15 all along. If you'd worked that out using your reasoning, that's awesome, because it meant that you didn't have to do the second half of the question at all. You could have just finished on part 2 and said, well, yeah, obviously Sam's is going to be 15. Sorry, the difference is going to be 15 because Sam's would be 13. That's twice as much as the original amount. But there you go. So that's our last question there. They're just trying to get you to use your brain, so you really need to read them carefully. But working them out like this is just as good. Cool. Word problems. They usually have multiple parts. They sometimes have a mixture of methods or operations to use. You need to use your reading comprehension skills, just like for that last one, to work out what you need to do. And you need to figure out what to do using your reasoning, like on our RPS questions. So make sure you're listening when you're reading it out loud to make sure you don't miss anything important. Make sure when you're reading you don't miss one of those important action words. So you need to underline, separate out the sections, and then do your working out before you check it 3 ways to see if you've made any mistakes. And it's really important to check if you've made mistakes, because that's how you get answers wrong, just by doing silly things, by missing a number or by carrying something over incorrectly. Check for all those things so that you don't make silly mistakes. And if you do make a mistake, then you obviously didn't check, so make sure you're checking. Great job. Good luck with your questions. Don't forget to underline, separate it out, work it out, and then check your answers. That's 4 things to do. You can all do those things really well, as we saw last week. Good luck and have fun. Thank you, everyone.